Michael Viewmaster Morlan here, and welcome to Galactic Inquiry. Coming up on the show, Ben Lesnick talks about ships and hangar patches. An old friend, Alistaire Fitzsmithy, tells us a story. And fan art, orgs, and more. Coming up right after this. Welcome to Galactic Inquiry, Episode 3, the show where we feature the community of Star Citizens. We wanted to kick off this show with a quick look at the latest Bar Citizen gatherings.
Nobody expects the Galactic Inquisition.
Greetings from Phoenix.
Yay, Bar Citizen!
Hey there, little lady. You got cold feet?
Tribbles are asexual, puppet dude. They don't have feet.
I hate the show. Hey, I lost my number. Can I have yours?
You know, we're actually slammed putting this show together each week, so we could use some help organizing the Austin Bar Citizen events. If you're interested, write to us at sayhello@galacticinquiry.com. And we now have over 150 initiates in
the Galactic Inquisition.
That's right, the Galactic Inquisition. Welcome to our holy order. We could also use some help organizing events in the Galactic Inquisition, as well as, if you have some writing skills, helping us put together the history, the manifesto, and the charter. It would be great to get some extra help doing that. If you're interested in that, write to us at inquisitor@galacticinquiry.com. And now it's time for the Word of the Week.
Word of the Week. The words of the week are negative energy.
Some people may think that warp drive is a thing out of science fiction, but not you. You know that NASA engineers are currently working to generate a microscopic instance of space warp. The power source required to produce warp drive is called negative energy. And experimental work by Yale atomic physicist Steve Lamoureux has confirmed potential negative energy exists all around us in the constantly shimmering microscopic pulses at the quantum level of space-time. Rather than moving through space, negative energy expands space around it, bringing you and Alpha Centauri closer together in time. And now, the news. From the world of real aerospace, in May of 2014, SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk revealed their Dragon V2 spacecraft, an update to the original Dragon spacecraft. V2 will be able to ferry up to 7 crew members and 3 tons of cargo to the International Space Station, and eventually to other destinations. The capsule is reusable and it will be able to make a controlled landing with the precision of a helicopter upon re-entry. In a bit of technology sharing, that landing will be controlled with a set of ruggedized touchscreens borrowed directly from the Tesla Model S automobile. And those touchscreens will be driven by NVIDIA Tegra graphics co-processors. That's right, the same technology in your cell phones will be used in space. Closer to Earth, Wes Bell joins us from his YouTube channel, The Whole Truth, to share hard-biting news from around the verse. Wes?
Thanks, Mike. On 10 for the Chairman, Chris Roberts gave us a little bit of insight into the mission system. So what can we expect? Missions are going to consist of both linear types and procedurally generated types. Linear missions are like your typical MMO style quest where you talk to an NPC and get a mission that everyone can get. It's usually some story-based thing or has a static requirement and reward. You follow the mission to its end, finish it, and that's it. Sometimes they have multiple parts or can lead you linearly through a story. Procedurally generated missions are quite different. In the persistent universe, there's going to be a living economy that's based on what NPCs and players do. Supply and demand will exist in a very real way, and procedurally generated missions will take this into account. If you're on Terra and a major weapons dealer has a huge demand on ammunition and his supplier is not supplying, it means there's a shortage somewhere down the line. You may get a mission to fill that need. It could be delivering base materials that you mine or purchase to the factory responsible, or it could be to escort another ship doing the same thing. The possibilities are endless. The procedurally generated system will keep things exciting, fresh, and relevant to the world. There is a third mission type as well that Chris mentioned, and that's player-created missions. You will be able to create different types of missions for other players to attempt to complete. The first thing that always comes to mind for this type of mission is the bounty mission. Being able to put a price on a player's head is sometimes as satisfying as actually taking that player down yourself for the reward. If you're not the ace pilot type though, you might be the rich merchant type and still take care of a pirate problem this way. Being able to create missions for other players adds a whole new dimension to the user experience. People and organizations, and especially people like me that run large communities and live stream on Twitch, will be able to set up complex events using this mechanic, and there's no end to the ideas I have for this already. This is an excellent way to make this multiplayer focused game even more community oriented. I look forward to the shenanigans my fellow citizens come up with to utilize this mechanic.
Thanks, Wes. You can watch Wes's full show on his YouTube channel, The Whole Truth. And that's your aerospace news. At Galactic Inquiry, we're always pleased to share the work of the community, and here's what we found on the INTERWEBS this week. First up, if you're new to Arena Commander, you might want to check out Hopping Mads first in a series of planned videos that are going to explain the controls, tips, tricks, and the tactics of flight inside Star Citizen. It's obvious the video's creator, Aaron, has spent a lot of time putting this together. Having produced a number of videos about Skyrim modding, I'm looking forward to seeing what Aaron creates once he really gets into the Star Citizen game engine. Aaron has a crowdfunding campaign going on at patreon.com. If you like what he's doing, be sure to leave a message for him and become a patron of his videos. Speaking of modding, Disco Landro has created a video that's, well, a fly-through of the asteroid hangar. After extensive research, the Galactic Inquiry Laboratories have determined that two words dominate the names of Star Citizen organizations: Alpha and Omega. One such organization, OmegaCorp, is currently recruiting with this very cool video. Finally, I'm an avid maker geek, and I often get my DIY project fix over at Hackaday.io. And look what I found: blueprints of the Aurora. DIY maker Tyler Anderson, who has been busy designing 3D printers and a Team Fortress 2 paintball sentry gun, tried his hand at recreating the lost art of blueprints using some chemistry, an edge-finding algorithm, and a transparency. Check out Tyler's blueprints and his other cool projects on his Hackaday.io webpage. And a big thanks to everyone. You're on this week's Fan Frequency. In a moment, Ben Lesnick joins us to talk about a new fighter ship and the latest patch release. But first, backed by popular demand, an old friend returns to tell us a new story. Good afternoon, or depending on your worldview, good evening, good morning. And welcome to Season 2 of Masterpiece Citizen. Today we pick up in the middle of a tale by Charles Duncan, titled Lost and Found. Oscar Gruber found himself above Lorna at the Imperial Corrections and Rehabilitation Center, more commonly known as the Orbital Supermax. It had a nice name, but it was a prison, no mistaking. Soon Gruber found himself seated in a small meeting room. When James Quister entered, he wasn't quite what Gruber had been expecting. Short, grey-haired, clearly older than Gruber, and he hadn't missed too many meals. The former pirate stood opposite Gruber. "You're not my lawyer. You're not pale enough. You're certainly not stiff enough to be one of the advocacy. You're someone I threatened at some point, eh? Come to gawk at the K's line, is that it?" My name is Oscar Gruber, Mr. Quister. I've come here to ask some questions about a ship." Quister's laughter rang through the room. "A ship? Why, certainly, Governor. Step into my showroom and I'll tell you all the latest and best about what we have for sale." "I'm here about a specific ship. A cutlass called the Outbound Light. Never heard of it. You were the owner, sir. I've been retained to trace back the ownership." A shrewd look came over the pirate's face as he considered Gruber. "Retained, eh? Now, I do wonder who would be so interested in the past of such a humble businessman as myself." Quister sat down opposite Gruber, then glanced at the two guards in the room. "Might I trouble you two gentlemen to give me and Mr. Gruber here a bit of privacy?" Without a word, the two guards left the room. Gruber's stomach sank when he heard the lock strike home. "Before we get started, let me explain about the situation you're finding yourself in, Mr. Gruber. Now, this is maybe his own imperial facility and name, but trust me, I'm the one in charge in this block, in fact." Gruber suddenly felt very afraid. The story continues in issue number 19 of Jump Point. I'm Alistaire Fitzsmithy. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night. Hey, I'm here with Ben Lesnick, Cloud Imperium's very own community manager. Hey, Ben, it's great to see you.
It's very good to see you again.
It's been a while since I've seen you in the flesh, but it's great to see you on the world.
Yeah, I certainly miss Austin. I wish I were out there with you guys.
So, kind of the first news, there's a new ship sale coming out today.
That's right. Should be available now. The Gladius Light Fighter is available as an add-on ship today. It'll be in the Hollow Viewer. You can check out what it looks like.
What's cool about this one? What's cool about this new ship?
Well, this is the very first ship developed stem to stern by Squadron 42 in the UK. So this is all those guys, and it turned out very cool looking. From a Star Citizen perspective, obviously they built it for Squadron 42. For Star Citizen, we're thinking it's kind of like a lower-priced way to get the military experience instead of civilian or tanker pirate.
Right.
So if you don't want to spring for a Super Hornet, this is a way to get that into the game.
That's awesome. So it makes sense that Squadron 42 would be creating a military fighter.
Oh yeah, they've got a whole host of military ships they're working on now. They're doing the Gladius, Gladiator, Retaliator, Hornet, the Lightning, and they turn out shit so quickly. It's very impressive.
Well, they're going to have to. They've got a lot on their plate in order to get Squadron 42 out the door.
Yeah, they do.
So there's a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new pledgers in the world since last time we got a chance to profile Ben Lesnick. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got started on this journey to where you are now?
Oh, sure thing. I'm always happy to talk about myself. I've known Chris Roberts for years. I was a huge Wing Commander fan in the 90s. I ran I still run, actually, the Wing Commander website, wcnews.com.
Right.
So if you need Wing Commander news, it's updated every day. So I correspond with all the guys at Origin, Chris, everybody else, and I was very interested in the history of the games, how they were made, the stories of the team, all the stuff we try to share with Star Citizen's backers these days. So I got to know Chris, and over the years he would come up. I want to come back to gaming. I'm going to do a new Wing Commander.
Right.
There were a couple console versions. There was a TV show, and I would always be so excited, and it would never happen. And finally he came in and said, "Okay, well, I want to do crowdfunding. It's not Wing Commander, but it's the next best thing, and we're going to raise millions of dollars." And I was like, I don't think that's ever going to work, but you're Chris Roberts, and I'll do whatever I can to help you out.
Well, so there you are. You were at the beginning of this concept of a new, I guess, Kickstarter, or you're going to crowdfund a brand new project. And I think one of the things that really worked for you guys, that made it work, was that you had that triumvirate of Kickstarter needs. You had somebody who could say, I was once relevant, and I'm going to be relevant again. And here's how I'm going to deliver your promise that I'm making to you.
Yeah, the trick to a successful Kickstarter, which Chris knew right off the bat, was prove that you can do this. That's why he spent a year working on a tech demo, why we did a lot of the top-level design before we even started selling anything. We needed to show people that this was going to work and it was going to be cool.
So there was a lot of design concept, if not finished design, in the initial pitch. It was so relevant in the videos that were presented and the documentation about the game.
Oh yeah, we had a whole lot of stuff planned out. And obviously, there was a working demo that Chris could get up on stage and play. But we planned out all sorts of ships. We planned out how the system maps were going to work. We were doing demos on how to do the planet-side stuff. It's everything Chris was sure we could do.
Right.
We just knew it was going to take a lot more money and time.
And that has expanded exponentially ever since that first day in 2012. Yes. Yeah. So here you are. You weren't content just to help out with the crowdfunding. You came on as Cloud Imperium's first community manager, and you're still going strong today. Tell me a little bit about what it's been to do that.
Well, when I first started, I basically volunteered my nights and weekends. I don't think I slept for about the first 3 months preparing for the campaign. I had a day job. I was basically a community person for a public school system, press releases, telling people their children were stuck in a frozen school and so on. So I would do that in the day, and I would come right home and work on what we called Space Trader at the time, which luckily did not stick. So when the campaign was a success, they said, "Hey, you want to come move out to Austin, work with Eric Peterson and all your childhood heroes?" And I said, "Heck yes!"
Oh God, I don't know about heroes, but certainly you've been around long enough to know them as real people for a long time.
Yeah, in fact, the first time I met Eric it was the premiere of the Wing Commander movie. I remember that we went to the party after the movie. Everybody was celebrating, drinking, and Chris Roberts was, come into the office tomorrow. I'll show you around. Come into 10 tomorrow. And
right.
We got into Digital Animal the next morning, and we were like, so Chris Roberts, so we can come by and see him. And the secretary was like, "There's no way Chris Roberts is coming in today." But Eric happened to be there, and he recognized us as fans and showed us around. So I've loved him ever since then.
Yeah, Eric has always been such a gracious person, both with fans, with employees, with his friends. I've had a great time working with him at Cloud Imperium myself. So you moved from Austin. You were working with us on the show there, and got yourself kind of ensconced in the Santa Monica office, and you got some friends around you now.
Oh, yep, I've got Chris asked me to come out in January to Santa Monica, build up a whole community team for what we're doing going forward, and now we've got they're not here at the moment.
Looks like they abandoned you there.
James and William would be there.
Right, James.
They're a great team. James is our assistant community moderator. William's our lead. James is our assistant community manager. William is our lead moderator.
Right. And
it's a really fun team. They're really good guys to work with.
Well, we get to see them a lot on your show, Around the Verse, as well. So they got some pretty good camera presence there.
Yes. Around the Verse is something I never would have wanted to do myself. It's been a lot of fun, but it's certainly not my wheelhouse. So, obviously I'm not Eric Peterson. Nobody is Eric Peterson. So I immediately knew we had to have the whole team instead of just the host on this one.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
You're meeting everybody.
Well, it's good to have some other people help carry the water.
Absolutely.
So returning back to the game, patch 12.5 is getting ready to come out.
It is, or maybe it'll be out today, hopefully. 12.5 is going to be a big one. We're going to be fixing a lot of the rubber banding, the lag that's been happening with 12.4, which we went from 60,000 to 200,000 players with the last patch, which brought up
that's quite a leap.
Didn't expect. Yeah.
So any new little things hidden in there we should look out for?
Yes, there's actually a pretty big surprise in there. There's something out there that's destroying UAE Ship. So we don't know what it is. You guys are going to have to figure it out, and post your screenshots to the forums when you figure it out.
Absolutely. So there's been a big topic in the forums and around the community about the flight physics model, especially once the uncoupled mode was kind of introduced. How are people handling that? Is there any sort of feedback you've been getting about it?
Well, it's interesting. It kind of speaks to the force of Chris's personality. And credit he gets from gamers, but the first reaction was, "Oh, this is our arcade game. You haven't simulated anything. You promised us this elaborate space combat engine, and it's just Wing Commander." And so Chris went out there and he did this long post explaining exactly how the system works. It is accurately simulating Newtonian physics. You've got various overlay modes that make the game playable, but that's also how an actual spacecraft would work. It would simulate this.
A little bit of fly-by-wire kind of stuff for you.
Yeah. And since then, honestly, there has not been a big uproar. People, once you show them the work that's gone into it and talk about everything that's going to happen because of their feedback, they get it.
Sure. Well, the uncoupled mode seems particularly interesting, flight mode to play in. It'd be interesting to see how strategies evolve and defense and offensive maneuvers evolve in that kind of space.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever played Wing Commander Armada back in the day, but it would just turn into a turning battle. So with uncoupled mode, it's going to give more advanced players the ability to just pull some cool moves. It's kind of like a more natural, like in fighting games where you have the combination, which I could never do. Up, left, right, and you rip out his skull. But it adds to the skill-based quality of the game. You can throw yourself into a Death Blossom spin out of control and pass out while you unleash all your weapons to see if you survive that. Yeah, and if you can pull that off, that's awesome. You deserve whatever you get. Hey, listen, Ben, I want to say thank you for coming on. It's really great to see you again. It's been a while since we got to see each other in person, and it's always good to see you on the world. Sure thing. Anytime. Anything I can do to help, let me know. Always great to see Ben. Now, while the Hangar Module and the Arena Commander are all great and fine and everything, the persistent universe still remains just beyond our reach over the horizon. Here's what some of us are doing while we wait.
I'm Angry Pete. To pass the time while waiting on Star Citizen, I like to imagine what it's like to be a normal person. I like reality TV. Then I vomit for a few hours.
What do I do while waiting for Star Citizen? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Hey, it's Legante. While I wait for Star Citizen, I figured I'd try my hand at some community opinionated flavored smoothies. I'm not so sure about this one. Ugh. Alright, cap and hey, how's this gonna work?
Okay, so we created a couple of those. Let's wrap up the show. Become a Patreon backer today and enjoy the benefits of supporting a show that's for and by the fans. And if you prefer, you can do one-off pledges at pledged@galacticinquiry.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, that way you get a ping every time we put something new up. Keep in touch through your favorite portal by going to galacticinquiry.com. You'll find some links to those portals right there, also in the YouTube block below. This show belongs to you, so your feedback is really important. Visit our subreddit and offer your thoughts there. The centerpiece of this show is fan creation. If you've got something cool to show, send it in. And if it doesn't suck, we'll put it on the show. And remember, we're listening.